Good morning, and welcome to your daily Farm and Home Show, brought to you by the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. And now, here's your host.
Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna, and this morning we're visiting with Dr. Jeff Lehmkuhler. He's with the University of Kentucky Extension Beef Specialist there. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. It's great to be back.
Well, I'm glad you're here because today we're going to talk about a management technique that could be helpful, especially this time of year for farmers, and something they might need to think about if they've never thought about it before, and that's creep feeding.
Absolutely, and you know, this ties in with kind of that limited hay supply because one of the things that we know is that for about every pound of creep feed that a calf consumes, it exchanges that for a pound of hay. So it's a way to try to conserve a little bit of forage by offsetting that calf consumption and give that cow maybe just a little bit more access to hay.
And you know, we were talking about the Stalker conference the other day about preconditioning, and a lot of times what I find is if you creep feed those calves, they learn how to eat, and then when you wean them, they're already used and trained to kind of go to feed, and it just kind of maybe streamlines that process.
Absolutely. One of the things that we don't think about, it's hard to put a value on, is but minimizing that stress during the weaning process, both on the animal and on you as a manager. And calves that have been accustomed to creep feed and you use that same creep supplement during that post-weaning period seem to acclimate just a little bit quicker and get over that stress of separation from their dam a little bit faster, and it keeps their nutritional plane up. The other thing that we don't think about is that nutrition kind of helps drive that immune response when we're giving the vaccines to those calves right before weaning and that booster maybe at weaning time. So if we can keep them consuming those nutrients a little bit better, we'll get a better response to the vaccines that we're giving those calves and build their overall immune system so that when they go through those marketing channels, they can have maybe a little bit better opportunity to resist those disease challenges they may be exposed to.
Absolutely. So if a farmer has never creep fed before, what's the mechanics behind it?
Yes, so in general what a creep feeding program is what we're doing is we're giving calves an opportunity to get access to either higher quality forage or a grain supplement, and cows can't get to them. So we'll use a gate that basically restricts the large cows to be able to get through, and those smaller calves can get into that creep feeding area or into that creep feeder. A lot of times we're using a self feeder that the feed is going to be contained in there like a storage unit, and gravity flows down into a trough, and so then it has gates on the outside that allows those calves only to get into and access that supplement. One of the things that we try to do is make sure they work with a nutritionist to get a balanced creep feed that will allow those calves to meet their nutritional needs, but yet not cause any digestive upsets.
Yeah, and so that's important. It's a lot of times we just can't go pick it right up off the shelf. We really need to think about the size of those animals and what they need and the time of year.
Absolutely, and so this time of the year with calves that we might be weaning in late February, March, we're kind of at an opportune time to be thinking about providing supplement to them. The dam's milk is supplying much less for their nutritional requirements, and the hay quality this year has been kind of below average due to the rain that we had and a lot of hay being cut late. So providing some creep will allow those calves to meet their genetic potential for gain before we wean them here at a time when they need more nutrients. And so typically we're looking at a 14 to 16% crude protein supplement. Try to minimize the amount of starch that we have in that, and using co-products like soy hulls, corn gluten feed, or distillers grains as an energy and protein mixture. We can use some corn. We try to limit the amount of corn so that we don't cause acidosis and foundering.
Absolutely. Now, if you don't have a creep feeder, there is a way to maybe have an access where the calves can only access that area and do that with hand feeding.
Absolutely. Several companies make a gate that you can replace an existing gate and make an area with some feed troughs, and you just go in there every day with some buckets and feed.
Yeah, and it's great to get those cattle used to coming up maybe to a certain area, and it's easier usually at weaning to get them to come in if they're already used to feed and those type of things. So like you mentioned, there's a lot of advantages that might not be economically tangible with creep feeding.
Exactly, and that's one of the things as we think about where our industry is heading. You know, our challenge is going to be to try and make sure that those calves are going to have the best opportunity to handle stress post-weaning, have a strong immune system, and make it through that market channel successfully and healthy.
Yeah, and so spending a little money now could have big payoffs in the end.
Absolutely.
All right, Jeff, well, certainly appreciate you coming and bringing that information. And if you have any questions about creep feeding or maybe what the nutritional requirements are for your cattle, make sure to contact the Extension office and we'd be happy to help you out with that. We appreciate you watching the Farm and Home Show, and we hope you have a great day.
If you have questions about today's topic, please call the Warren County Extension office at the number on your screen. Thanks for watching and have a great day.